Does this strategy even work? That's what I want to know. Today is September 19th. It's 12:30. I got no trades today. Not a single trade. We had a huge move down, much of it in the overnight session. We had some follow through in the first part of the day, and then we had a nice big rally at the end of the day. And I didn't see a single setup I liked. There was one, what I call a white trade. This would have been a SLO, but my white trades are what I refer to as aggressive, lower probability trades. And I skipped it because I only want to take gold trades. That's what I'm looking for. That's what's working for me. And that's the only kind of trade I'm willing to take on my Apex accounts right now. And unfortunately, they just didn't show up. And lucky for me that I follow my rules, because if I had taken this white trade, I would have come up 2 ticks shy of my profit target before it reversed and would have taken me out at a stop loss. Which would have done some damage to me today, and I would have been red today instead of break even, flat, no trade, which is fine. I'm okay with no trade. I'd actually rather use this system where I see a setup and I have a reason to understand why it's a lower probability setup than what I would consider a gold trade. That's a super high probability setup. I mean, so far in my data collecting, we're talking about the difference of, it could be like something like 98%. I don't know yet. We're figuring it out. But we're talking about a 98% probability trade if it's gold versus a white trade where I don't even know what the percentage is. Better than 50-50, but is it 60-40, 70-30? Is it even 80-20? I just don't know. But I don't want to lose 2 out of 10 times. In my experience, losing 2 out of 10 times when you're scalping for 6 or 8 ticks at a time on the ES, it's not enough. It doesn't get the job done. You're not going to be profitable. Mac is out there teaching 4 ticks. Now, if you get a loss under Mac's system on a regular day, you need at least 3 trades minimum to make up the 1 loss. On a day where that has a higher ATR, we have a low ATR today. On a higher ATR day, it could take 4 or 5 trades to make up 1 loss. It's really difficult. So I'd rather just skip a white trade until I know it's higher than 80% or 70%. I mean, I want my trades to be 90% probability or better. Literally, like I want to lose 1 out of 10 times. That's what I'm looking for. So today I saw 0 gold trades. I saw 1 white trade that triggered. I skipped it because it was white and I'm just not willing to do it. And there were a number of times where it looked like I was going to get the perfect setup. At least 5 times. At least 5 times where I thought, here's where my trade's coming from. And it didn't trigger, didn't set up right. Something didn't happen to give me a setup that I could take. And that's okay. We'll move on to tomorrow. Does the strategy work? Well, so far I'm 1-0 on my YouTube channel. I am 8-0 on my Apex since last week. I took 7 trades last week before I started this YouTube channel to document this journey I'm on. And I've taken 1 trade yesterday, which was my first video ever on YouTube. So I am 8-0 with the strategy so far on these Apex accounts, even though you'll see that I am below starting amounts on some of these because I was trading with another system prior that I had taken some losses with and switched over last week. So we're going to see what we can do here. I'm going to show you some of my day, my live recording of exactly what happened, and you'll be able to hear when I think I'm about to get into a trade and then something just doesn't happen, doesn't line up, doesn't trigger, and I can't take the trade. And it was just one of those days. There was easily 5 or 6 times where I hit record and thought I was getting my trade and it just didn't happen. Does the strategy work? Well, today it saved me from taking a loss, and yesterday it gave me a win. It's not enough information yet for us to know, does the strategy work? Let's keep going. Let's find out. More to come in days ahead. Stick with this video if you'd like to see what kind of a frustrating day it was for me, but it's okay. I live to fight another day. We did no damage to our accounts today, and I'll take that as a win. Any day that you don't walk away with the red day is a win day. And let's see how the day went. Thanks, everyone. All right, good morning. This is Nlts. It is Tuesday, September 19, 6:56 a.m. Recording this live. And if I sync my clock now, 6:56 a.m. And I'm just going to be looking for a setup here. Looks like we have a bearish day. And I just want to talk about, before I get a setup here, I have been a Mac price action trade system trader for the past 3 years, like I mentioned in the last video. The reason why I liked Mac's system was because it was a very specific set of rules, and there were specific entry points, exit points, and reasons why you get in a trade or don't get in a trade. And that's what spoke to me. I wanted something that was mechanical, that was more black and white. This is why you get in, this is why you don't get in. And over time, I realized that, even though to a degree that's true, once you understand the system and can read the chart and draw the lines the way he draws it, if you misinterpret how to draw the lines or draw the lines in a slightly different way, which is, highly subjective, then you can get the whole thing wrong. And even though it looks like, a second entry that, fits the context, you might not realize you have a break new low of your channel, and now you're taking a short because you thought that you have a second entry short, and it turns out you have the context wrong, and you get a loss, and it's frustrating. And I really struggled with it because, you start to beat yourself up. Why can't I see it? Why am I not doing it right? I thought it was this. I thought I saw everything perfect, and then it fails, and it just makes you crazy. And so I've been doing that for 3 years. And what I really like about what I'm doing now is I don't draw anything. I have an indicator that draws everything I need. I don't need to draw anything additional to it. And so there's no room for error in terms of what I see on my chart, on my indicator, is correct. There's nothing I can do to fudge it or make a mistake or not see it correctly. And so therefore it gives me confidence that what I'm seeing is the way it's supposed to be, as opposed to me drawing something and constantly having the struggle and thoughts of, well, if I didn't get it right, if I'm not seeing something, then my trade is potentially invalid. And so this indicator that I'm using now, while it doesn't literally tell me take a trade here, there's no signal that says on this bar enter. I've kind of come up with a system that it's as if it's giving me a green light to take a trade. And I look for a very specific set of circumstances with the way it's drawn and the way the candles form against that indicator. And, it's becoming very black and white for me, whether I take a trade right now or not. And so it also allows me to just relax for most of the day, because most of the day there's not going to be a trade. I'm just sitting here patiently waiting for the right circumstances to evolve, and when they do, I will jump on it and enter a trade. But until then, I'm not constantly drawing. I don't have to analyze every minute of the day what's happening on the chart, and I can kind of sit back and just from a distance, I can tell whether I need to be getting ready for a trade coming up or not. And that's something that's been really great for me. And when I take a trade, I feel confident, and I don't have that doubt in my head of, did I do something wrong here before I'm entering this trade? And that is huge for me. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm going to sit here and wait for a trade to set up, and then I will be back. All right, there might be something
order
coming up
submitted.
here. Just in case, get my order ready. Right now I'm looking for shorts. Doesn't look like this is going to set up right here. Definitely not a bearish bar for me. Okay, I like that. So if this next bar potentially closes bearish, this might be an entry for me. Looks like it might be going too high for it to turn into an entry for me here. I wanted it to stay lower. Let's see what it looks like when it finishes. Yeah, so this will definitely not be an entry bar for me. Maybe the next one. Okay, that's a good bar for me. So if this closes bearish, I will enter it once it goes 2 ticks below this one. But I need a bearish bar here. That's good. Let's see if it goes 2 ticks. Looks like I'm not going to get my trigger. No. So I needed 2 ticks below this bearish bar down here to be able to enter that trade. And it looks like it's consolidating, and you might ask yourself, why would I be looking for a short right into possible support? But again, I trust what I'm seeing, so I really put all of my price action trading system trading out of my mind, and I just go by what I'm seeing here on my indicator. And if it gives me the right set of circumstances according to these conditions that I found to be good for taking trades, then I just take it. It doesn't look like I'm getting those right conditions at the moment, but I'll hang in here and see what it's going to do. And by the way, you'll see these balances will, of course, be exactly as you saw the end of my session yesterday. And every day, these opening balances, when I start my next video, will always match the day before. Yeah, that's a good bearish bar. There's one thing I don't like about it. It looks like this is just going to consolidate here and not give me a setup. Okay, I'm going to pause it here. I'll be back if I see something I like. Okay, it looks like we're going to be retesting this low here coming up. It's 7, a little after 7:30 now. Haven't seen a setup yet since I've been on this morning, but that's just my job. I sit here, I'm patient, and I just wait for my setup that I know works to show up. And until then, I'm just hanging out waiting for something to come up. So I'll be back. So far, the only thing I'm interested in is a short setup if it comes, according to my rules. I think that's the biggest thing for trading that I've learned over the years is you have to have a set of rules. You have to have a reason to enter a trade, and you have to know where you're getting out of the trade. And if it works against you, you have to know what you're willing to risk at a maximum to get out of the trade. Bars. So this is not what I'm looking for. I was looking to be lower down here. So now if this is going up here, I will need another dip down before I can get in. And according to how I'm entering trades now with the system, I see that I tend to be getting in, at the low end of moves or the high end of moves on longs quite often. And everything that I've been learning from Pats for the past 3 years is, you want to get in on the pullbacks. So, not that you want to take a long here, but you want to get in at the swing. He does second entries, so first entry, second entry, this would have been a failure right here, and go short here. So that's at the bottom, but he wouldn't do that going into support. I don't put any of that to, I don't pay attention to any of that according to the system that I've been trading for a few weeks now. It just doesn't seem to come into play. I look for a set of conditions according to what the indicator is drawing, and I really don't think about anything else other than does it satisfy the conditions that I found cause a winning trade or not. And it's really just that easy. So if it comes down here and kind of is in this area, I might start looking for something to enter, a few bars later down here for a short. I'd say my entries are definitely more momentum entries. I'm looking for a direction that already is building momentum, and I'm getting in the middle of the move, essentially. And it hasn't triggered yet either, because I'm looking for whatever my signal bar might be to be triggered when it goes 2 ticks below it. Looks like it just triggered now. Let me see. No, just 1 tick so far. So it only went 1 tick on the next bar. It has to go 2 ticks for me to even consider it on the very next bar. I wouldn't wait for the next bar after that to go the extra tick for me to consider it triggered. So multiple things here that I wouldn't like about entering here for my system. While some of the other conditions were met, these two, the doji and only 1 tick below, both don't satisfy my requirements to enter a trade here.
Order submitted.
Just seeing what this bar is going to do here. If this closes up above, then I've got nothing here, and there's a big consolidation area here. But if this closes bearish again, my signal bar might be the next one. Doesn't look like that's what's going to happen though. Okay. And the likelihood of me getting a trade in this, is unlikely. But if I were to get the right conditions according to what I'm looking for, I would have no fear in taking a short if it breaks to the bottom and gives me the right circumstances. It's just, you can't decide what it wants to do. And since what I do is enter on momentum, these are not the right conditions at the moment, but they change fast. So if it happens, I'll be back. Something 40-ish minutes since it started, and just not seeing any setups. So I'm just sitting back and relaxing. And if I see something set up, I will hit the record button. Until then, there's just nothing for me to do. I'm doing other things. In my playback, when I've been testing this, it can happen anywhere from 2 times to, say, about 8 times a day, the setups that I'm looking for. There has been days where there have been none. I think only one day, actually, that there's been none that I watched the whole day. Usually there's at least one if I'm here for it. And if there's none, then there's none. But I much prefer to wait for a setup that I'm confident works, virtually 98% of the time or something like that, rather than trying to jump in on something that I'm guessing at. So I found these setups that, to me, make me feel comfortable and confident that, yeah, if it happens, it's a go. Let's take it, because more likely than not, it's going to work. And I'll just wait for that. My years of experience tell me that that's the best way to go. And anything else, guessing, is just gambling. And I'm never right when I'm guessing. So I'm going to take the guesswork out of it. I'll be back. All right, I've been sitting, waiting patiently. And it's now 9:43. And we're in a spot where there might potentially be something to set up here. So there's maybe one component right now that's making me think this would be a white aggressive trade for my setup. If this bar were to finish on its, towards its bottom right now. So let's just see what happens here, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to take this or not.
Order submitted.
Deciding to skip this. Everything looks good for me on this, that I could enter as an aggressive trade right now. 2 ticks is triggered, I believe. Actually, it's only been 1 tick so far. See if there's even a second tick that would trigger me in. But there's just one component of, say, 5 that I have that I don't quite love here. And if it doesn't go that second tick, then it cancels the trade anyway. Let's see what happens with this bar. Okay, so the second tick did trigger. So this would be a white aggressive trade for me, and it looks like it's probably going to work. I need it to get to, see, the entry would be 63.75. So I would need it to get to here, 61.75. For me to have gotten my 6 or 8 tick scalp. It looks like this one would have worked. We're getting very close here. I got no problem skipping this one, even though I've been here for 3 hours waiting for a trade. It just wasn't quite exactly my requirements to enter a trade. Although, in the future, if I see this working enough times without losses, then perhaps I can consider making this particular variable part of my gold trades instead of white trades. But right now, we're still 2 ticks below, or my profit target is still 2 ticks below where it is currently, the bottom of this bar. And this might still turn around and come up short of where my profit taking would be. So somewhere about this white line or just over it would be my stop out, where I would take a loss on this trade if it didn't get to this white line first. So I'll let it run and see how this plays out.
Order canceled.
All right, so we're getting very close to potentially this white trade getting stopped out. And if it gets stopped out, that's just another indication for me of why I skip these in my system, because they have proven to be a little bit less reliable than what I call my gold setups. So there's a specific detail or factor in what I'm looking at on my indicator that tells me, the way I analyze it, that this one would be a riskier trade than what I would consider a gold setup, which wouldn't have that factor included. So let's see if it touches this white line. I'm quite certain that's where I would have put my stop, and that means this would have been a losing trade. And there it is. So let's see what the high, well, now there's no doubt about it. So that would have been a losing trade right here. This one, that would have been a loser. And this just, again, I'm documenting this and recording it, and I'm going to post this to YouTube to show in myself that there's reasons why to skip this, and I clearly saw that there was a reason to skip it, and I'm glad I did. That would have been a significant loss to these accounts, on especially the ones where I'm trading larger contracts. So this evaluation, I'm trading 4 contracts. This one I'm trading 2. My PAs, I'm only trading 1 contract, but these are close to the trailing stop threshold that would kill the accounts, because this one I had this account much higher at one point a few weeks back, and then had one of my days on the PATS price action trading system strategy where I lost a significant amount in one day. So yeah, this would have been a bad loss. I'm glad I skipped it. I'm glad I saw the reason why not to take it. I'd just like to say real quick, this is what's so great about the system I'm trading right now that has me really excited. There is a setup here that I showed live as it was happening. And I said, this would be an aggressive setup. And there's a reason for that, according to my indicator that I use. And I decided not to take the trade because I know that there are more odds of it failing than when it's my gold setup that doesn't have that one specific issue with it that I saw in this particular trade. And so I stayed out of it. And sure enough, it went 6 ticks. So it was 2 ticks shy of my profit taking, and it reversed and would have gone right through my stop. And now it looks like the market's just completely reversing entirely. And, it was a very black and white decision for me that right now in my system, I'm not taking these white trades. And there's a reason for that. And it's because I see that they get more losses than when all of the rules are in place and all the factors are met that allow me to take a trade without any doubt. And so this is just a good example of why the system is working really well for me so far. Not only is it giving me wins when I take a trade, but it's keeping me out of losses as well. And that's something that I think is just so important for any strategy that you might use. This would be a LLO, gold, if it forms just right. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Order submitted.
Go ahead and put my buy order in here just in case. Okay, I like this. If this bar finishes bullish, I'm going to be in. And it's going to need to trigger, the next bar after this is going to need to trigger 2 ticks above this bar. And this needs to be a bullish bar or else I have no trade. Well, that's disappointing. I really thought we were getting a setup here. This is the key for my system. And this shows no follow through, unfortunately, and just completely invalidates any trade here.
Order submitted.
A questionable signal here. I'm happy it didn't go 2 ticks because it was right on the edge of whether it was white or gold, and I didn't want to have that decision. So this would have been my signal bar here, and this only went 1 tick above, so that keeps me out of a questionable trade. I gotta say, my days since I'm not trading pats anymore is really enjoyable. I'm not drawing trend lines. I'm not drawing ranges. I'm not worried about STTs. I'm not constantly looking at the market and trying to figure out and analyze every bar, or every swing, and figure out if, there's been a break in the trend yet or not, or, has there been a measured move? There's all these things, all these rules, according to a Mac system that I've been trading for forever, 3 years, that is just so taxing on, our brain mentally, just analyzing and analyzing and analyzing all day long for as long as you're trading. And I'm not doing any of that. I have my indicator. It draws everything I need. I don't have to adjust or modify anything it's doing, and I just simply look at what it is and make decisions based on how I use it to get in a trade or skip a trade. And that's about it. So I look forward to the day that I can show what I'm using, but I just want to get a data set and track the history of this on these blank charts, and just see what my win rate is. Am I profitable? Am I taking many losing trades or very few? And if I can build up a portfolio of mostly winning trades and profitable accounts, then maybe I'll feel that, yeah, it's something worth showing people. And, maybe there's something to it. I'm kind of surprised that it works as well as it does. And so right now for me, it's just, it's still me being in disbelief, honestly, that, wow, this works. And I have no trade today, but I'm fine with that. If I only get trades 3 days a week, that's fine. I'd rather have 3 winning trades or 3 days of winning trades than losers. So let's see. I'm going to mute myself here and just let this run for a little bit, as we're still in an area where a trade might set up. Okay, now that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars stacked up, this is just an area where I'm no longer willing to even think about taking a trade. The highs of this push, and very well
Order submitted.
may get a setup here. I know a lot of people think this is like trading some kind of breakout, but according to my strategy, it's just, if it gives it, I'm taking it. And I can't believe it. This is just barely, this is probably a trade I should take, honestly. But it just barely is not giving me what I want to see, even though it might work. That's frustrating. Very close, very close. I guess this is a white trade, unfortunately. I don't even know if I could count it white. It's not even white, actually, because this just doesn't satisfy my rules. Let's see, one tick above this, 89.75, and we got to 90.50. So it definitely triggered. I just don't think I can count this as a valid trade, unfortunately. Man, I really thought we were getting a trade right now, finally, after waiting all day. I will continue to wait. Here, I guess let's see if this would have worked. Yeah, definitely would have worked. 89.75, and it's already up to 92, so definitely good enough for an 8-tick scalp. And I'm not going to let it get to me. It just wasn't quite right here for me, unfortunately. We've had some close calls all day, and that was the closest call we've had yet. And if you're sticking to your rules, it's a valid trade or it's not. And this was just not a valid trade in real time. I'll go ahead and pause it here. Disappointing day. It's already 11:37. Wow, look at this thing go. Okay.
Order
Getting close
canceled.
to the end of the day here. I'll be back. We're going to have to see what this next bar does. This bar will lead me to either believe we're going to have a trade right now or not. This gets bullish right now. I'm liking it. I'd like to see this finish bullish. No. Still can't consider this, especially with the doji. Let's see what the next bar does. All right, looks like this thing's rolling over.
Order canceled.
And will not be an opportunity. So I'm going to pause again and we'll see if something else comes up in the next hour or so. All right, recording here.
Order submitted.
Possible short. Looks like no trigger. Didn't go 2 ticks. I was waiting for 2 ticks below this red bar, and it didn't give it to me, so no trade. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? It's gonna give no setup. That's what it's gonna do. So this is another instance where I'm not getting a setup, but I'm actually happy that it didn't give me what I was looking for, which is a bearish bar here, because I really didn't want to trade off of this inside bar. I feel like that makes it a riskier trade, maybe more like a white trade instead of my gold trade. And the fact that this bar closed in the middle is showing me no follow through anyway. So now I have 2 bars that are questionable. So no matter what it does here, there's just no trade. A trade is completely off the table in this section or in this area of the chart at this point. Doesn't look like it's going to finish bearish to me. It's going to have to turn around real fast at the end here. No. All right, so once again, parameters not in place, no trade. Bearish bar. Okay, 2 ticks below this, and I'm taking it. One of those days. I'm actually surprised because I haven't had too many days since I've been using this system where there's been 0 trades. I mean, literally not like I missed a trade or wasn't here for one, or but literally since the time I started at about 6:45 a.m., there has not been one setup that has triggered with everything in place that could be taken whether I was here or not. And that's just something I really haven't seen very many days of. And through going on 3 weeks of live market, as well as countless days and weeks of playback testing. And you might ask me, well, if I'm a momentum trader, how come I'm not taking a short somewhere up here? Or how come I didn't take a long somewhere over here if I'm just looking for momentum? But again, I have a strict set of parameters that I work with according to my strategy and the indicator I use. And so I'm only looking for places, for trades and places on the chart where all of those elements are lining up for me. And today, just it hasn't happened. So I think this is a good example of just, when you believe in something that works and it's working for you, you don't try to bend the rules just to get a trade. I think it's okay to let a day go by without a trade and come back another day without making a mistake and somehow getting a loss because you didn't follow your rules. This just doesn't look promising. This is all stacked up. I'm going to cancel
Order
this.
canceled.
Most likely I'm going to be done for the day. I imagine I'm not going to get a setup today. But you're not going to see a trade today. Most likely. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. If you got to the end of this video with no trades today.